up, guys? Fat Archon here, bringing another 40k Tactica. Today we're doing a bit more of a, I guess you could say, an esoteric kind of video. Arguably one of my more important ones, though. I think I'm going to call this one, like, the tournament primer, or how to get into the competitive mindset. So this is going to be a kind of unique one. Essentially, I think I want to get down to the basics when it comes to, like, competitive play and, like, just like some of the most important things you need to try to bear in mind. This is mainly going to be focused for new players who are, like, thinking about getting into the competitive scene or want to get better at tournament play and that sort of stuff. That said, hopefully you'll have some useful info for some of you experienced people out there. Never hurts to have a refresher. I do feel, honestly, I feel like 40k, like, competitive play has it's gotten really popular lately. It seems to be one of the most common themes people ask me about. I get a whole bunch of questions about, like, writing competitive lists, how to win, that's a pretty common one, all sorts of stuff related to that. So, again, I figured I'd put out a video that sort of, like, sets the groundwork on how to get more competitive and hopefully how to win more. That's, like, the end goal. I plan to be doing, like, an entire series. I do already have a couple Tactica videos. One of them's even, like, how to practice for tournaments. So, if you haven't checked that out, maybe give it a look-see. But I'm going to be doing a bunch more videos. I'm going to do a video, probably on, like, making a competitive list. That should apply, like, any army. I get a lot of people asking for, doing Demon Allies. 100%, I'm going to do a video on that. But if you guys have any other suggestions or requests, definitely leave a comment below. I read every single comment. I try to reply to, like, every single one, all the like, relevant ones or, like, valid ones. Yeah, man, I'll reply. 100%, I'll read it. As usual, if you guys end up enjoying this video or you think it's useful for, like, you and your friends, do consider, like, liking and subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me. It really does give me the drive to keep going. And you guys have been amazing so far. But enough about that. So to jump into mantra number one, or rule number one of Fat Archon's competitive recommendations, whatever we're going to call it. So the first one, all right, this is one of the most important ones. This is something you really need to work on, like, drilling into your head. I think this is one of the ones that, like, you literally need to try to, like, think of and try to, like, remind yourself as the game's going, and before the game and after the game and all that sort of stuff. And that rule is going to be scoring, scoring, scoring. You need to be scoring. We're not talking about prom. We're talking about 40k still, but, again, you need to be scoring. You need to be getting points up on that board. I know that seems, like, really obvious, but genuinely, like, from my experience, even my own personal experience, it's really freaking easy to get into, like, a killing mindset. You see certain units, it's almost like they got, like, a flashing light on them going, like, kill me, kill me, kill me, when really, it's these guys you need to be hyper-focused on. You need to be, like, laser-focused on getting to that objective, or doing the secondaries, whatever it might be. You need to be, like, again, laser-focused on doing those. It is so easy to get sidetracked on some flashy unit. Nah, that's a distraction. There's a name for that a lot of the time. Distraction Carnifex. You're getting played. So, again, make sure you're focusing on that. Something I tell a lot of new players, especially for the, when they just ask like, a general question, like, you know, how can I win more, or how can I improve? The phrase I always tell them is, when you start each turn, the very first thing you should do, the first thing that should go through your head is, how can I score the most points this turn? How can I, like, be the most efficient on scoring this turn? I usually say, too, the second thing that needs to go through your head, how can I prevent my opponent from scoring on their turn? Or how can I reduce the amount of score they're going to get? Again, this is one of those things, like, I think you need to be, like, cognizant of. You need to, like, actually, like, think about it. I really do. If let's say, like, you tend to, like, lose a lot, or you're not too confident in, like, your generalship or whatever, seriously, start trying to, like, make a challenge to yourself to try to do that, to try to make that the first thing you think every turn. I just about promise you that, yeah, you should start to win more. I guarantee at least your score will go up. Like, how couldn't it? So 100%, that is going to be, like, the very, very base of this little tournament pyramid we're building up to. All right, definitely remember scoring. It seems so simple, but it's so easy to forget. That said, so, okay, one of my favorite things about 40k competitive, there are so many different styles and ways to play and, like, strategies you can use. Yes, there are tabling strategies out there. There's some people who aren't going to worry too much about scoring early. Like, everybody worries about scoring. That's, literally how you win. But early on, they're just going to try to table you. Now, that said, you as a new player, no. Don't, I mean, I guess you could argue it's easy or whatever, but I wouldn't recommend that route. Save that for, like, the Garage Hammer or whatever, and even then, like, I don't know, we're not trying to table our friends, but, again, be mindful of the style you're using. I would say, too, a lot of armies, and in fact, a lot of players, like, even if you could, you shouldn't. You shouldn't just go for a tabling strategy, because A, your army may not be, like, that, like, isn't the best thing for your army, and B, like, you're not ready for it, and C, you need to learn scoring. You can't always rely on tabling. There's going to be people who, like, alpha striker, null deploy, which means like put most of their army off the table and that sort of stuff, that you're not even going to be able to, like, boom, your plan potentially goes out the window or whatever. So again, every single turn, how can I score? Second thing, how do I stop them from scoring? Beyond that, so this is sort of related to that, have the game plan. This touches a lot of different aspects. You need to have a game plan for, like, your list. You need to have a game plan for the game. You need to have a game plan for, like, what happens during your match. All these different things you need to try to like keep them in mind. So, like, making the list, like, what sort of style are you going for? Do you plan on, like, are you going to go for board control? Are you going to go for not necessarily tabling, but like damage output and damage efficiency? Are you going to go for that wild, like, null deploy and hope that you can get, like, most of your army for the second turn strike? All different little, like, little things you got to keep in mind. Also, too, it's 10th edition now, so something you super need to keep in mind is going to be the objectives. Are you going to do tactical objectives or fixed objectives? If you're going for the tactical, do you have the units you need to, like, be on any part of the table in a moment's notice? Do you have a cheap little unit you can just throw away in the corner, get 9 inches of the corner just for a single turn? Little things like that you want to bear in mind. Do you have screening? If you didn't bring enough screening, what are you going to do versus that army where they have a boatload of scary units in reserve ready to come in behind you? You only brought like 7 units and you need most of them for scoring, you might want to consider tweaking that list. Obviously, there's a lot of nuance, like most things in life, but you potentially might want to, rewrite it, add a couple cheap units that literally don't do anything but, like, stay in the corners. That's a valid strategy for some units, depending on the price and what they do. On top of that, you need to know the unit's role. So it's kind of important that you don't just toss in a unit because it's, like, flashy. So maybe you see, like, Mr. Rotagus right here, and you read somewhere that, Rotagus is the most points-efficient model in the game when it comes to resilience. He can take the most hits out of anybody. I'm totally going to toss Rotagus in here because he's going to tank all the hits for me, and the rest of my army can do whatever it wants. Well, obviously, it should be clear, if you didn't build the rest of your list, like, support this guy, like, sure, alright, you got a big, meaty guy, what are you going to do when your opponent just completely ignores it and kills the rest of your army? Now, all of a sudden, you got a 7-inch moving little little blobster right here, trying to waddle across the table, trying to fit through all these narrow cracks. Again, be cognizant of these things. Obviously, like, you'll learn them over time. I don't expect you, like, know all the little, like, tips and tricks of what could happen on the table or whatever. But again, be mindful. When you put a unit in your list, be aware of what it does. When I look at Nurglings, I know, like, right away, I know, okay, these guys are going to do a bunch of things. I can move block my opponent. I can, I can screen or use them for, like, deploy teleport homers, or, maybe I just, like, run them up a flank and run them as a distraction. Like, I don't care about them. Obviously there's not always just one role for a unit. There's multiple roles that they can cover, but it's important that you know what they're going to do. Why did I bring Sloppity Bile Piper? Like, is the plus 1-inch movement he's giving me, like, is that really worth that 55 points I'm bringing? Or, in the scheme of things, should I just bring, like, more Nurglings? Or, I don't know what else is 55 points. But, again, small little things like that. And again, not only, like, for the list building, but during the game. Know the role of your units. Don't get distracted. Don't throw away the Nurglings on move blocking, when really they would have been better for the turn 3 or turn 4 or turn 5 scoring. Just little things like that you need to try to bear in mind. By the way, to touch on the objectives that I was talking about earlier, I do think tactical objectives are going to be the main way to play, and that's going to be the way I recommend you play, by the way, as well. I could see the argument that if you're really new and maybe you're a little nervous about using the deck, or you don't understand the rules too well. First of all, go learn the rules. Like it's really not that hard, and especially like this day and age, it's really easy to use Control F in the core rules or the Leviathan pack or whatever you read. That same thing goes for other rules. Maybe you don't know. Maybe if I ask you, hey, what does stealth do? And you're like, it's -1 to hit in melee and range. And I go, wrong. Pull up the core index, Control F, stealth, boom. In 10 seconds, oh, it's ranged only. Oops. Little things like that. Again, try to bear them in mind. Now, as for why I like tactical objectives more, there's a few reasons. One of the big ones is going to be the fact that you can discard a card and gain a command point. So I remember in 9th when a bunch of us freaked out that we were down to like 6 command points instead of I think it was 12 originally. And a lot of us were like, how can we play the game? And now in 10th edition, you literally start with 0 CP. Unless you got some like fancy little unit you bring along. So CP are like a precious commodity these days. So I think that's like really big. That potentially having a stratagem that maybe you wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise, potentially that could win you the game. Or maybe it just gives you sticky objectives so it doesn't seem like that big a thing. But over the course of the game, like, yeah, man, that was 25 points or 20 points I scored from that. Like, holy cow, from 1 CP. So I think that's valuable. What I really like about it too, and especially what I like for newer players, and really why I think you should do it, it kind of forces you to take a take-all-comers list. A take-all-comers has like an answer for everything, and is meant to take on every single kind of list. Yes, again, there's different styles. A skew list, as they're called, is extremely common, especially in like upper tournament play. But, again, take-all-comers, it kind of forces you to do that, which is good for practice. Helps you get better, man. Maybe you don't have like the most optimal unit, but you manage to play it the most optimal way. That is fantastic. That is like the best way that you can get out there and learn. So again, I do think the attack objectives, the random missions, is going to be the way to go. Again, you could go fixed if you're like brand new and you're kind of scared of how it works. Just make sure you choose objectives that you can manage to do. Also, too, we're still super early in 10th edition. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe fixed objectives is like the way that everybody ends up going or whatever. But for now, where I'm sitting, it does seem like the attack objectives is the way to go. Again, to touch on, so I already touched on in the beginning, the whole killing versus scoring. A decent example, I guess, would be like, all right, you got a big scary unit like these crisis suits, and they're like in the open, about to chew up your Radagast right here. We don't want that, but there are like just a little, almost dead little squad sitting just barely towed in on the objective. You would think, oh crap, these crisis suits are gonna wipe out my my Radagast, my 360 point or whatever he is, 285 point guy next turn. I don't want to lose 285 points. I need to make sure that I kill these guys. So suddenly, like, they're shooting, everybody's like shooting into it. Again, there's a lot of nuance, but I would argue those freaking Kroot right there, like, those are probably priority target number 1. This is also silly, too, because there's only 4 of them. Like, you should be able to just incidentally kill them, make sure they're dead, and then you can start looking into the towel. Another way to look at it, and, like, this is, like, when you get, like, really competitive or whatever, and I'm no mathematician or whatever, so don't think I'm, like, that good at it, but you gotta think of it like odds. For a Kroot with their terrible save and whatnot, yeah, man, there's like a 90-some-odd% chance that I should be able to wipe them, even with just this guy. There's a really high chance I can wipe them. If I don't get on the objective, at least I keep them from scoring it on their command phase directly after my turn. Whereas these crisis suits, potentially, depending, how it's going or whatever, maybe you only got like a 50-50, or heck, even maybe it's okay odds. You got like 65% odds or whatever. Still, man, that 90%, like, try to keep that sort of stuff in mind. Try to play those odds. I really would, this will go in a different video, but I guess it belongs here too. Like, you need to learn the order of operations for how you want to do stuff. You do want to take out, like, most important or easiest targets first. Also, too, I keep killing it, shooting it, and doing what I need until it's dead. So, first guy that was supposed to have a 90% chance whiffed. Second guy, maybe they only got 70, but whatever, they whiff. All right, third guy, like, you keep going until it's gone. Anyways, that's a detour. But again, try not to get tricked. Maybe they got Desolation Squad over here. They're literally going to delete whatever unit they want. Arguably, potentially the little distraction that seems like the cheap little unit that's like, oh man, I'm wasting 300 points shooting at those guys. Not necessarily. The next thing that is going to be like this goes as like the second most important thing, I would say, is, and this is like the most obvious, is practice. You need to get practice in. Luckily, we live in the future now, so there are millions of ways to easily get practice going. You're looking at one of them right now. Tabletop Simulator, fantastic tool for 40k, an amazing tool for 40k. Not just for playing online, by the way, not just for playing on your computer. Almost everything that applies here applies to playing on like a real tabletop or whatever. So don't think that like you're not going to get good practice by using Tabletop Simulator. Also, it's only $10. Also, I just put out a video on how to set it up, so check out my other videos. Sorry, I'll try not to plug myself too much. So, Tabletop Simulator is an obviously like really valuable tool. What's cool about this, man, and like, I don't know, maybe it's dorky, I don't know, but you can even practice solo. I do that fairly often, to be honest. I'll load like Tau or whatever army I'm curious about. I'll deploy them how I think I would deploy them, and I'll just play a turn or two as both sides. I'll try to do it like as efficiently as I can or whatever. Oh, if I was Tau, like, yes, I would 100% shoot that unit. Obviously, it's not the best thing ever because, like, you know your strategy or whatever, but it helps you learn the profiles, helps you get that repetition of rolling the dice, of checking the index card, knowing how many hits this unit will normally take. Like, oh crap, they're way more resilient than I thought. I didn't know the shield drone did that. So that's a handy little trick. Playing online multiplayer with other people, incredibly easy with Tabletop Simulator. You can literally get a game going in like 2 minutes if you're lucky. Usually it's like 10 to 30 minutes or whatever. But yeah, you can get a game going super ultra quick. Obviously, you meet people. You meet like-minded people doing it that way as well. So that's great. Maybe you'll make a friend or a training partner. Speaking of that, making the friends and all that, if well, first of all, call your friend. Go play some Warhammer. Maybe you haven't seen him in a couple months. Give him a call, man. Like, do it. 40k is an enjoyable experience. Go have fun with your friends. Another way, though, is if your friendly local game store has a Discord server, I would strongly recommend that you join it. Again, man, you get to meet like-minded people. It's funny, too. At least on my store's Discord server, like, I swear 80% of the conversation is like competitive focused or whatever. So, again, it does seem like really popular these days, at least from how I see it. So for sure, check their Discord, see if they got any tournaments coming up. That too, so that would be like the big one. Join a freaking tournament. Go join an RTT, even if you're relatively new. So if you've never played, like this is like 101 stuff. If you never played, like maybe don't go to the tournament. You might take a long time, but if you played like 4 games before, four or more games, dude, go join a tournament. I almost guarantee you, if you tell your opponent, hey, this is my first tournament ever, I've only been playing like 2 months, I'm really excited to get out there and learn 40k, I guarantee they will, they might go easy on you, maybe, but they will totally try to make it enjoyable. All the time, I run into new players, I'm like, oh, cool, like, we're just going to have a fun game then. I'm going to just talk about your models, tell you how good they look, give you tips if you want any. So don't be afraid to go to a tournament. Don't be nervous. Don't think people are going to be weird. Like, yes, we're human beings, so you still got the, like, antisocial weirdos every now and then, but they don't last long. Word travels fast in the 40k scene, like legitimately. So if somebody's like a jerk or they're weird, or whatever the reason, like don't anticipate to have to run into them too much more. I remember I ran into like a major cheater once and didn't last long. Basically, long story short, didn't last long. Another handy so there's a couple other handy resources I want to quickly mention. Reddit. If you use Reddit, the competitive Warhammer subreddit is like one of the better resources out there. You got hundreds of thousands of people, I'm pretty sure, that you're able to ask questions, bounce ideas off of. You can say, hey, how do I beat Tau? Or used to be more commonly, but how the hell are Tau so strong? Why do they always beat me? Anything you want to talk about on there, that's obviously a great resource. Another one, this is like the math hammer side, unitcrunch.com. I freaking love that website. If I want to look up the like literal efficiency, mathematical efficiency of a certain unit into another unit, I just go in there, take like 30 seconds to type in the profiles, and boom, I'll know real quick. I love UnitCrunch. I want to say too, that developer, the guy who runs it, like the kindest guy you'll ever talk to. That guy is so polite. He actually left a comment the other day. So love that guy. If you're seeing this, you're awesome, man. I'll promote you all the time. Beyond that, so practice. Like, come on, that's a really obvious one. But those are some good resources you got. Now, okay. Unfortunately, so 10th edition, I genuinely like, I do like 10th edition quite a bit. But unfortunately, like, it has some rough patches still. I, like, firmly believe that they'll all be fixed within, like, probably sooner than we think. Probably just, like, a month or two, hopefully. Hopefully. Balls of GW's court. But I do feel that they will fix most, if not all, of the major issues. But, unfortunately, certain armies aren't going to be doing as well as other armies. Don't be upset about it. Don't think that you should just totally give up on competitive play. Screw it. I'm not going to any tournaments. I'm just going to lose them all. Why would I go? Don't think that. You need to first of all, go have fun, man. That's like the whole point of 40k. Don't let just your army not being like the most meta thing ever hold you back. But second of all, consider the future. A lot of times indexes or like updates or whatever, the units are still essentially the same in the end, or not the same, but like they're extremely similar to how they were. They mostly just like get little buffs or little tweaks or whatever little things, but for the most part they have the same role and same all that sort of stuff. So you're still getting really valuable experience by going out there and playing, or at least practicing, like I mentioned. Even if your army isn't like the best thing on the planet, like, no, man, it's still valuable. Speaking on what I sort of touched on there, this probably is the most important thing, is remember, guys, we're playing with toy soldiers. We're literally like grown adult-ass men playing with little figurines. Literally, you're there to have fun. The way I treat tournaments is like, I wouldn't call it a party, but it's like, cool, man, I get to meet people and just like chat a bunch, make a bunch of jokes, look at like awesome little models I freaking love. I love looking at everybody's, how they've like converted stuff and all that sort of stuff. So like, try not to ever get in like a dark mood, or like upset or aggravated over like your army or how GW's acting or whatever the reason is. Genuinely, guys, we're playing with figurines. We're playing with dolls, in a sense. Really freaking expensive dolls that look sick. But, again, we're all playing a game at the end of the day. Yeah, don't be that guy, essentially. I think, so for the primer, is there anything else big I want to talk about? I know that this is like really basic stuff. This really is like a kind of basic video. I guess my main point was the whole hammering in and how important scoring is. That genuinely is like one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. So again, hammer that in your head. Again, learn your profiles. Try to memorize them. The way I like to do it is I load, so for Tabletop Simulator, for example, I'll load all the index cards, and I'll like hide them off to the side. I'll like read them once, hide them off to the side, and I'll pull up a unit and I'll say, all right, this guy's, he's T3, 4 wounds, 4 attacks, only hits on 5s, lethal wound, whatever it is. And then just check, make sure you got it. When you got it, you delete it or flip it or whatever, go on the next unit. Just do that. You don't have to do that much. Just do that a couple times, and pretty soon, man, it'll all come natural to you. It'll be quick and easy. You won't even have to think about it. Aside from that, so like I said, this is going to be the beginning of like a series. Hopefully, I will have like more specific, more like pointed videos on specific subject coming in the future. Again, if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations for it, I am all ears. A bunch of people have given suggestions and I use them. Like, I want to improve the channel. I want to make this better for all of you, both more informative and entertaining. So for sure, if you got any ideas, let me know. Again, if you guys like what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. Otherwise, appreciate y'all. Good luck out there, and have a good night.